The life you want is not behind a secret. It is not behind a connection you don't have, a break that hasn't arrived, a version of circumstances more favorable than the ones currently in front of you. It is behind a single, unglamorous, unsexy variable that you already know about and have been negotiating with for longer than you want to admit. The variable is what you do with the hours nobody sees, not the hours you perform effort, the hours between the decision and the execution, between the intention and the action, between the man you are right now and the man you keep describing to yourself in the quiet moments before sleep. Those hours, what happens inside them, is the only thing that determines whether the life worth living gets built or keeps getting planned. The discipline era is not a trend. It is not a content category. It is a decision made once, cleanly, without ceremony, that the version of your life currently being produced by your current daily choices is not the version you are willing to accept as final. Bruce Wayne made that decision in the years before anyone knew his name. Not in front of an audience, not announced. In the dark, alone, with nothing to show for it yet. In the hours that nobody was watching and nobody was counting. Those years built the only thing that the hours in the light ever ran on. Your discipline era starts the same way. Here is exactly what that means. The discipline era is not a period of punishing effort. It is a period of honest accounting. It begins with one question, asked without softening it. What is the life I am currently building with my actual daily choices, not my stated intentions, not my articulated values, not the version I would describe to someone asking, my actual choices, repeated daily, compounded forward. What does that trajectory produce in 5 years if nothing changes? Most men who ask that question honestly do not like the answer. The answer is not a catastrophe. It is an ordinary mediocrity. A life that is fine, functional, and completely beneath what the man asking the question knows he is capable of. That gap between fine and capable is where the laziness lives, not in the dramatic failures, in the quiet, daily acceptance of a lower standard than the one the man privately holds for himself. Wayne's discipline era began with exactly that accounting. Not rage, not pain, a clear-eyed assessment of the gap between what was and what was possible, and a decision, made without performance, that the gap was unacceptable, and the hours in the dark were the only currency available to close it. The era is that decision. Everything that follows it is just the daily work of honoring it. Laziness is not the absence of effort. Most men putting in low output are not short on effort. They are short on direction, spending genuine energy on the lowest friction version of their day instead of the highest value one. The comfortable task over the necessary one. The easy input over the difficult output. The adjustment to the schedule that avoids the thing that matters most, in favor of the thing that can be completed without resistance. That pattern does not feel like laziness from the inside. It feels like productivity. It feels like a reasonable response to a full day. The tells are in the accounting. The important thing that keeps moving to tomorrow, the project that has been one step away from starting for 6 weeks. Stay with this. The version of the day that was busy and produced nothing, that moved the life forward. What I am about to describe is the single decision that separates the man who enters the discipline era from the man who watches videos about entering it. And it is not the decision you think it is. The decision is not to try harder. Trying harder inside the wrong direction produces more of what trying produced before. The decision is to identify the one thing, the specific, concrete, daily action that the important version of the life requires, and to make that thing non-negotiable before everything else becomes negotiable around it. Not to find more hours. To make the one thing the first obligation of the available ones. Wayne did not train harder than everyone else. He trained differently, with the specific preparation the actual task required, done first, done consistently, done before the hours that were easier to spend. The era is built from that one structural decision, repeated daily, until the direction changes enough to be visible. Beat 3. What the life worth living actually requires. The life worth living is not a destination. It is a daily standard. It is built in the consistent gap between what felt like enough and what you knew was possible. Every day that the gap was closed, where the harder thing was chosen over the easier one, where the important work happened before the comfortable work, where the promise made to yourself in the morning was kept by evening, deposited something into a structure that compound interest cannot touch, because it is not made of money or metrics. It is made of evidence. Daily evidence, accumulated privately, that you are someone who does what he said he would do. That evidence is the life worth living. Not the outcomes it eventually produces, though it produces them. The man himself. The specific quality of operating from a foundation of kept promises rather than deferred ones. Wayne didn't build Gotham's protector through one extraordinary act. He built him through 10,000 ordinary ones, done in the dark, without applause, across years that looked like nothing from the outside and were everything from the inside. The discipline era is those years, available, starting tonight, not when conditions improve, not when motivation arrives, not when the version of yourself that feels ready shows up. Tonight, with the hours that nobody is watching, and the one thing that matters most, and the decision already made. You came into this expecting to be motivated, to leave feeling the way a good training montage feels, energized, ready, temporarily convinced that this time the intention will hold past Tuesday. Motivation is not the era. Motivation is the weather, present sometimes, absent more often, completely unreliable as a foundation for anything that needs to be built across months. The discipline era does not run on motivation. It runs on the decision made before the motivation arrived and honored after it left. The man who enters the era and stays in it is not the man who felt most motivated at the start. He is the man who built the structure that ran without the feeling, who made the one thing non-negotiable before the day had a chance to make it optional. This video is not the era. It is the last video you watch before the era begins. Close it and open the one thing. That is the start. Everything before that is still just planning. Tonight, write one sentence. Not a plan, not a list, not a vision board. One sentence. The specific daily action that the life worth living requires, stated as a present tense behavior, with a time and a location attached. Not, I want to build something. I write for 45 minutes at 6 a.m. at this desk before the phone is checked. Not, I want to get fit. I move for 30 minutes at 7 a.m. before the day asks anything of me. One sentence, specific, timed, located, non-negotiable. Tomorrow morning, that sentence is the first obligation, not the first thing you want to do. The first obligation. Everything else is built around it, or it doesn't happen, because everything else is flexible, and this is not. Wayne's years in the dark produced a man the city needed before the city knew it, needed him. Your discipline era produces a man your life needs before the life makes it urgent. The urgency will come. The only question is whether the man was already built when it does. The life worth living is not found. It is built, daily, in the hours nobody sees, by the man who stopped waiting for conditions to be right and started working inside the conditions that exist. One sentence. Tonight, the era starts when the sentence becomes tomorrow morning's first action, not the motivation to do it, the doing of it. That is the entire discipline era compressed to its irreducible minimum. Everything else is detail. The detail starts tomorrow. The decision starts now. If this is the video that starts the era, subscribe. No motivation required. Just the one sentence and tomorrow morning. One question. What is the one sentence, the specific daily action, timed and located, that your discipline era is built on? Write it in the comments, present tense, as if it is already happening. That sentence, written publicly, is day one, not Monday. Now.